This episode of the podcast is brought to you by Rock and Roll Denim, Pendleton Whiskey, Bill Fick Ford, the WCRA, and Resistol. Born in the iconic American western town of Pendleton, Oregon, and taking its name from one of the most revered rodeos in the world, my absolute favorite rodeo, known for the grass, the Pendleton Roundup. Pendleton whiskey is a modern celebration of a century-old tradition. Pendleton whiskey is barrel-aged in American oak and cut with glacier-fed spring water from Oregon's Mount Hood. For an uncommonly smooth, rich taste and complex flavor, the Pendleton whiskey brand honors a heritage that inspires us to live boldly, never lose sight of the values we believe in, and taste the moment, wherever we may be. The legacy of the American cowboy is forged in every single bottle. A taste of true Western tradition is always worth raising a glass to. Discover more at pendletonwhiskey.com. Oh, and Pendleton Whiskey is the official whiskey of Pro Rodeo and of the PBR. Pendleton Blended Canadian Whiskey, 40% alcohol by volume, Pendleton Distilleries, Lawrenceburg, Indiana. Please drink responsibly. Bill Fick Ford, the #1 Super Duty dealer in the entire country, is still taking care of their customers. It's hard to get trucks right now, but there's some perks when you're the #1 Super Duty dealer in the country. You still got trucks. Go to BillFickFordHuntsville.com to get the no bull discounts that no one else is giving during this crazy time that we're living in. Bill Fick Ford is still the place to go. In fact, if you ask me, it's the only place to get a new Super Duty dealer today. Bill Fick Ford. The Women's Rodeo World Championship is the largest purse in the history of women's rodeo, paying out a total of $750,000. The event will take place October 26th through the 29th in Las Vegas at the South Point Arena. Each Women's Rodeo World Champion will take home a minimum of $60,000 each, while the all-around champion will collect a minimum of $20,000. The championship event just is out equal money in all disciplines. This is your chance at a piece of that $750,000 purse. Earn your position on the leaderboard by nominating your team roping, breakaway, and barrel racing runs with the WCRA. Visit womensrodeoworldchampionship.com to learn more on how to qualify for the richest event in history of women's rodeo. Again, that's womensrodeoworldchampionship.com.
What sets Resistol apart is the legacy of the cowboys who wear the brand. These traditions are passed down from fathers to sons, from heroes to future champions. Since 1927, Resistol has been handcrafting the finest American-made cowboy hats. Generation after generation, we live it every day.
This is The Gauge with host Chance Conradou.
Are you freaking serious? It's Conrado. This is The Gauge, and I am Chance Conrado. On this episode of the podcast, we have got Sharin Hall. Y'all know who Sharin Hall is. She's won everything there is to win for turdying. She's a badass in more ways than one. She's a strong businesswoman. She's got great ethics. She does it for the load, as she'll tell you. I really like Sharin and everything she stands for. She's got a great journey, and I think anybody who listens to this will get something out of it. I do want to mention one thing that we did not get to in the podcast because, well, she had to catch a flight to Vegas. She's handing out a saddle, but she started a 501c3 called Barrels for Brains Awareness. Obviously, one thing that happens when you're riding colts and just in our industry in general is traumatic brain injuries. Nobody wants to talk about it, but it is something that happens, and sometimes people need help. That's why she started this organization. Again, it's Barrels for Brains Awareness. Check it out. Well, thank you for joining us, Sharin. I'm actually pretty excited to talk to you because you're one of these people who does like the thing that I preach and the thing that I hate that so many people in the horse industry don't do, because that's how I grew up. You diversified. Like, you do more than just ride barrel horses and train. You're got your hands in other things. You're doing real estate. Someone told me that you like saved a baby on the way over here. It was Riley. She's probably lying. I don't know. Did you go rescue something in the street? Because she said that you moonlight as like a vigilante too.
Yeah.
Like, how do you have time for all this stuff?
I came in on 2 wheels, trust me. Yeah.
You rode a Harley here?
No, like 2 wheels in my car.
Oh, are you in a dually? Because if so, that's really impressive.
No, I got me a little hot rod.
You do?
Yeah.
What you driving?
An Audi SQ5.
Ooh, business is good.
Yeah. It's a couple steps down from my husband's, but
yeah,
I liked his.
You guys like German cars?
Yeah.
It's the right
I just
choice.
like fast.
Really?
Yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah. You match your cars to your horses kind of thing. Look at you go.
I've always liked the free runners.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a pretty apparent. But so I am sure that there's a lot you could tell us, but I guess maybe we could start with your background. I know people know, but I don't know how many like appearances you make, because the fraternity world is so separate from like all the flash and all. Not
That's
so much
true.
now with all the incentives and everything, but even still, like you guys are in your own world. And I grew up a snot-nosed brat at every fraternity in the world, so I know that. But it's not like right now, tomorrow, everybody's focused on that.
Right.
But you guys make more money, but you just don't get the same attention.
That's for sure.
It's really
I'd say we're
interesting.
pretty underrated.
Hugely underrated.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, especially you top 5 or 6 killers, you, Jolene, obviously Cassie, Troy, who won't speak to anybody, but still. Like, it's a group of, if you're, like, talking about savagery and barrel racing, savages.
Yeah.
Like, you don't want to shoot it out with you guys. At least I wouldn't.
We're like the work dogs.
You are.
We've done a lot of work on a lot of horses. And a lot, go on to the NFR, and
Tons.
I love the fraternities and the babies, and, it's just the challenge of taking one and making it great as it can.
Yeah. Yeah, it's an interesting, well, because you go in these 4-year increments, and you only get so many, and you've got really lucky if you had some amazing horses, but how did you get your start, like, as far as wanting to be a horse trainer?
Yeah, I guess that's a little bit of my background. My mom was into like pleasure horses, way back when in the 60s and 70s, and then when her and Dad got together, he went from hot rods over to the horses as well, and did like all the speed events and was really good at it. And then his brother, my uncle Leif, he also started training and running horses. And then my brother, super talented, can shoe, can ride, and then I'm pretty much the only one left doing it in the family. But I went to Fort Smith one year, like in the 80, 88, 89, something like that. And I just, I was like, this is what I want to do, but I got to get out here to do it. So being in Ohio, it's a long way. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
A lot of good trainers have come from Ohio.
Yeah. A bunch of them. Brandon's up there. Troy started out there.
Yeah.
All those guys.
Jolene,
Pete. Yeah. Well, and, a lot of the Judd Little people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really interesting. So you went to Fort Smith, and you just went to watch, or you took a horse there?
No, I did take a horse. I think I was 16 years old at the time and trained. Well, I might have been 18. So it was like my first stud too that I trained.
Really?
Me and my sister owned it. Yep. And he was the first one I competed on, but the first horse I ever trained on my own, I was 16, and I took it to the World Show in Oklahoma City, and I got 4th and won like $1,200 and thought I hit the jackpot. So I was like, yeah, I kind of like it out there.
Yeah.
And then I ended up selling that stud to Sherry Servy's niece in Arizona. So we kind of met in Tulsa, and
Really?
And I was like, oh, I like this town, and yeah, it was good. I like it out here. I've been out here since '99.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Seems like at some point, like if you really want to be a top dog in anything that has to do with Western sports, you got to come down here. You can't really stay up there. A few people, maybe they can, but it seems like at some point everybody makes it down to Texas.
Yeah, I know Brandon kind of still goes back and forth, and Troy.
Yeah.
But a lot of them winter out here now, so it makes it easier. But yeah, when all the major events are pretty much centralized here,
Yeah.
got to figure out what you're going to do and kind of be close to that.
Yeah, you do. Yeah. But so when was your first, you go and everybody has the same goal, right? Like in the fraternity world,
Everybody wants to win.
Everybody wants to freaking win. And there's a very select few who really do it and do it at that really high level. But when was it when you first hit that maybe milestone where you won something big enough where you're like, oh, dude, I'm going to kick everybody's ass?
Well, I don't really have that thought in mind, actually, that I want to kick everybody else's butt. I promise. This is the people that do run this circuit, or this industry, we're all friends, and we like support each other and we help each other if somebody has an issue with a horse. And like, I love it when people win. I mean, I love it more when I win, but I mean, it just doesn't happen all the time. And I just feel like we're so specialized now with the breedings that it's really whoever has the best day at that race is going to win. But yeah, it's a knife fight.
It is, but it's not like other things, because you're totally right. Like, and think about the business side, because you have businesses, because we were just talking about this. Like, it's opposite. Like, it's a real knife fight. Like, your competitors, if you have a business, I have another business, and they'd be just as glad if you're dead and not competing against them. I mean, if you want to struggle against other people, like, start a business or be the small fish in the big pond. Let's say you start a saddle company and you're tiny, maybe not saddles, because that's another specialized thing, but I don't know. Maybe you're making plastic bottles. Like, whoever makes Coke's bottles, they're going to want to kill you.
I understand.
Not just because they're Chinese, but they're going to want to kill you. And it's not like that in barrel racing or really any of the rodeo sports at all. Like, you'll have the guy who could out-rope you and win the average at the NFR, push your calf, and he's not going to, like, break that calf's leg real quick.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's just it's different.
It's a good culture.
It's a great culture.
It is. It's, like, really made up of hardworking people, and we all, like, strive for the same thing. And then it's almost like we all just cheer for each other, and whoever does great that day, you know, we're just happy for them. At least I am.
Yeah.
And I feel like it is a tight-knit community that we all appreciate, because you don't get here by not working hard.
You can't.
No.
And
that's what I try to tell all those interns I've had for years. I'm like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
You might as well strap up and.
Yeah. What do your interns say about you? I mean, we always had tons of interns, and some of them just didn't last long.
Oh, most of them don't.
Yeah.
Well, it's just they see your name in the paper, they see your picture, they see all the success, but then they don't know what's behind that door that you do every day. The grind, you know, of getting up and going out when it's freezing cold or snowing and still riding and doing things that I've always said successful people do what unsuccessful people don't do.
Yeah, and that's
the extra. It is in everything.
And what you do when people aren't watching you, right? Like, that's the real thing.
I only care about what the old man upstairs thinks. That's who when nobody's looking. Yeah.
The man upstairs?
Yeah. The good Lord above.
Oh, I thought you meant the guy who did the false teeth in the office upstairs. I'm sorry.
I was prepared for your sense of humor.
How'd you prepare for that? The tips?
Riley told me to.
Like, so it's a warning everybody gets. Hey, just so you know, it's going to be off color, and if you need to leave, you can leave.
Yeah.
So offers on the table, but I don't think you should. But you're right, though. I mean, and I like what you said, because the people like a Jolene or you or anybody in that group, or any group that's ever been a part of it, it's like they know what it takes to get a 4-year-old to the point where they can go and win at the Ruby Buckle or the Pink Buckle or wherever, Fort Smith, whatever, or any of the races that used to be in the early 2000s when it was a crazy time, like the old speed horses. Those were crazy.
Oh my gosh.
At least I was a little kid. I thought it was insane.
We were just talking about those the other day. Yeah.
What happened to them? I don't remember.
They just kind of faded out, you know. I don't know. It was like we had some at Tulsa and Shawnee. I love that arena. I did a couple of my races there.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think, too, a lot of those, including I think the JB quarter horse futurity, they would be, the first round would be a qualifying round, and it didn't pay anything. And then, so you had to be top so many out of that to go back for the short round. Well, everybody know, I mean, including me, when you make a run on a colt, like, you want it to count, you know, because colts are different than the finished horses. They give you everything they got. They don't safety to where, you know, they get older and they kind of feel ground a little more, and they, you know, set up a little easier and learn how to handle the ground. But these colts, that's why we clock on them, or they clock, is that they just give you everything they got. They don't know how to hold back, you know, and that's what good trainers do, is they know how to get that horse to the maximum of what they can handle and keep them there mentally. That's a whole nother job.
Yeah, especially with 4-year-olds. I think people don't realize how like mentally young a 4-year-old is, or for these juveniles. It's crazy.
It is.
The brain of those horses. I mean, every horse I've ever got hurt on was a 3-year-old. Probably you too, right?
Yeah, I try to avoid those though.
At this point, you probably don't have to, right?
I don't.
Yeah.
And I'm glad.
Yeah, you just get to a point
Sometimes
where it
you
doesn't
put in enough time that I can be picky now.
Yeah. Do you take very many outside horses? Probably not, huh?
You know, I had 2 studs actually that I trained for customers last year, and you know, one went home at the beginning of this year, and then the other one I hauled through Fort Smith. Mm-hmm. And then it's just been Stella and I. But yes, I'm not going to say that I would not take a winner that would fit my style and my program. But no, I don't just take them to ride anymore. I'll be glad to refer them on. And
yeah,
I never really even did 90-day wonders either much.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, if it was a fraternity horse and we had the same goal for that horse and we were going to campaign it, and usually, the owner is either going to ride it themselves when I'm done, or, if they're going to sell it, that's great. But yeah, I kind of had that up front, but yeah, I kind of have like my own little, what you like to ride.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like that's how you know the great one, like the great trainers, because they actually get to do that. Like no one wants to be 50 or 60 years old and have to take outside horses. Probably.
They do though. I mean,
you don't have a choice.
They do.
That's the danger of this chosen profession, right? Like it could not go the right way, and then if you do it for your whole life, it's not like you can go apply for a job someday. You're kind of stuck.
I didn't want to be stuck.
Yeah.
And I mean, I was getting pushed inside, to, okay, you got to figure something out, when I turned 40, good Lord was like, look, you got to work smarter, not harder.
Yeah.
And I'm stubborn, so I waited until I basically had a shoulder that hurt me every day, and I had to go figure out why. And yeah, I'm looking at getting it fixed, but it's not just an easy fix. They have to do replace the ball joint and the rotator cuff all at the same time, because I got arthritis in there, so it won't take physical therapy. So, and I'm not old enough, they say, to do it, so I'm just kind of biding my time. And but that kind of pushed me to, okay, what else am I going to do? Well, I've kind of bought and sold a couple ranches already, and I kind of liked, real estate, and kind of like a horse, right? I like to pick one out, or, and then make it into something great. And I kind of do the same thing with properties, is kind of
so you're not taking clients, you're buying and selling properties. Is that how you're doing
True,
it?
but I have clients too.
You do?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got real estate. I know a lot of real estate agents, and it's like an addicting process, isn't it?
I don't want to be the girl that sells the 20 houses in town.
Yeah.
No, I just kind of focus on the bigger pieces, land or ranch.
Yeah.
Ranches, horse ranches.
It's really smart, and people have to take a page out of that book, because if you can have some big successes, you're one of the people who you went and you won every big fraternity in 1 year, and if you can take those type of winnings and not blow them on other things, you can really actually have an opportunity to set up your life right. And I think that's what's so great about you is you see the reality of what you're doing. Some people don't, and how amazing it is, because you build these relationships, and even just fiscally, right? If you can you win $100,000 at a slot race. What happens if you invest part of that in something else to keep you going when you can't do this anymore? It's really intelligent.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. Yes. You kind of got to have a business mind, because after, 10 years of, grinding out being a trainer, I keep looking at my bank account going, man, it goes right out as fast as it comes in. And, owning property kind of helped, but any little extra I would get, I would put it into my property until eventually you get to a point where, even the improvements aren't going to increase the value. So that's when I quit investing in that. You just learn along the way, but there's a lot of people out there that are a lot smarter than I am, but I definitely would encourage people, if you getting to the point where maybe I was, physically, it's just exhausting and your body takes a toll. You got to figure something else out, figure out what your passion is.
Yeah.
And figure out how you can make a little money doing that.
Yeah, that's good advice. Yeah, and it's just about making sure that you're okay, right? Because there's a lot of people that I love who have done this for a living, and sometimes it just doesn't work out. And then I think it's better to maybe pump the brakes on buying colts or pump the brakes on trying to have a breeding, especially now, breeding program, and just set something up. A little something that keeps you. Products is a great idea.
It is.
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of, started my Pro Series tack line, 12 years ago. Started, developing a tree and then, finding the right manufacturers. And, I probably need to work on which I'm doing now. I've won a little money, so I have invested in, marketing and branding. So I'm kind of going that route with that little business. But
I've got a Gauge episode you should listen to if you want to learn more about marketing.
Okay.
What number
Who's
is
that?
Clinton Anderson? I don't know if you heard that one.
I heard a little bit of his.
Yeah.
He's
It's not for the man
character, isn't he?
upstairs, but as far as marketing goes, dude's
Yeah.
got it figured out.
I know, he does. I have to give him that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. He's one interesting guy, but yeah, I think it's brilliant. And so to kind of, because you've had more than one injury, right? Like you've broken things and stuff.
I've
like
been
that,
pretty
right? He was telling me.
fortunate. Like I broke my wrist once and then my ankle really bad.
Yeah.
Like really bad. I fell behind the first barrel on my stud that I owned, and it compound fractured my tibia and shattered my fibia. And when he put me back together, he was like, I'll see you in 2 years
Yeah.
to, reconstruct it. He goes, I did the best I could. Like, it was like putting a puzzle back together.
Really?
Yeah, and I was like, oh, I don't think you'll see me.
Yeah.
So-
Typical barrel racer.
Yeah, I know. But literally, I did. I did my physical therapy exercises for like a year and a half. So I have great mobility.
Mm-hmm.
I don't limp. But yeah, it hurts if I walk on it, like where I'm going next week, Oklahoma City. So
Yeah.
I kind of got to ride my little bike around or do something else, to preserve.
Man, you could just really step out and do rollerblades. No one would see that coming. You
I
really
used
give
to
people
work
something
at
to talk about.
Sonic.
Did you really? Like when you were in high school?
But I was like afraid, like if I fell on these skates in front
Really?
of somebody, I would just yeah.
So like as a first job kind of thing?
No, like I literally moved out here in '99 and I was like broke.
Yeah.
And I was like, it was so hot and I was like, I don't care. I got to go make some money. Because, you'd be done with the horses by like 11 o'clock.
Yeah.
And so I just went to the local Sonic there and got
Really?
a gig. Seriously.
Yeah. That's badass, actually.
Like, I mean, I made good tips.
Really?
Like $400 a week. And I would work
they
like
give
3
tips at
days.
Sonic?
I didn't know that. And so I felt so bad, but I always tip now.
Yeah.
But yeah. Oh, well, you'd have your little regulars and then they would
really?
tip you good. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you were in Tulsa,
I didn't
is that
last
right?
very long. No, I was like in Medill, Oklahoma.
Oh, so real small. So the Sonic was the only place. Well, okay. No wonder you're getting
Yeah.
tips. Nobody's getting tips at the Sonic in Fort Worth down the
I
street.
know.
Yeah, those poor girls aren't getting nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're probably getting shot nowadays.
Yeah.
Well, you said you didn't last very long. We're talking like 2 weeks.
No,
2
like
months?
that summer, probably.
Oh,
like
the
3
whole
months.
summer?
Yeah. It was just hot. I
Yeah.
didn't have nothing else to do and I wanted to make more money.
Were you by yourself down here when you did? Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was just you.
Just
however
renting a
many
little
horses?
shack. Had like 5 little runs.
Really?
Yeah.
Just like a little house and then just a
No,
couple
like,
pens?
I mean, a rat hole.
Really?
Probably like, I don't know. Yeah. It was a trailer house.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, we've all lived in those.
I know.
Every one of
It's
us.
okay.
If you
You
did
got to
this.
start somewhere. I mean, hey, I don't forget where I came from
Yeah.
and where I'm at, that's important.
What was it that, like, I usually don't structure shows like this. It's more like ADD because that's just me. But, like, thinking
I got
about
that
it.
too.
Do you? Is that something you suffer from? It could actually be
I
real
don't suffer,
helpful.
man. I just kind of use it as like, I don't know. I get a lot done,
Yeah.
believe it or not.
Wait.
I might be here and there, but
Do you get a lot done or do you start like 20 or 30
women
things?
can multitask.
Okay.
But
That
I
was
try
sexist.
not to.
Very sexist. I'm hurt. I know men aren't supposed to call out women for being sexist, but how? Come on. Well, no, we can't. Yeah, I was chewing gum, walked up the stairs, and I almost lost a tooth.
Oh my God. Yeah. Men are like in the box. Like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Very much.
They are in a very small box sometimes.
That's also
I mean,
hurtful.
even my husband, I have learned, like, okay, this is not a good time to talk about that because he's, like, zeroed in, focused on something else.
Yeah. All of my worst decisions and terrible mistakes have been caused by that box.
I know.
Hyper-focused. You spend too much money. You put money in the wrong place. You get fixated.
Yeah, but that's your zone, though. You know what I
can
mean?
be.
Like, if you're in there, you can, I think, do a lot.
I think, yeah. It worked out with this, but it could have went the other way. People could have been like, fuck that guy. No, thank you.
I think you do a great job, by the way.
Aw, you're just giving me compliments because I gave you compliments and you feel obligated.
No, I mean, it's true. You do a good job.
Thank you. I want people to think this shit's cool.
It
Because
is
I think
cool.
it's cool.
Yeah.
I think people like you are cool. I think Jolene is cool. She's scary, but she's cool. For
I
someone
know
who doesn't
all my
lift the
interns
weights,
are like, I just want to meet Jolene.
Really?
You know, over the years, yeah. And I'm like,
Yeah.
dude, she's like cool.
Yeah.
She's like really cool.
It was because I was like a little kid at the fraternities, and when you're a little kid, like we're just little dirty barrel racers, children running around, and there's just a gang of us running around. But
I know
like,
your dad. No.
You know him, yeah. Well, yeah. Then you know how he parented when we were at those things. He's like, take my
Where
kids.
are the kids? No, I'm just kidding.
We all
Just kidding,
survived
Kelly.
though. Yeah, we all survived, and somehow all three of us were able to like.
And
do
you're all
stuff in the industry.
successful. Yeah.
Yeah, none of us had to be bailed out of jail past 21.
That's good.
That is.
But you
something.
know what? I mean, I had parents like that.
Really?
Like, yeah. I mean, just it creates us to be independent and like figure out life like quick and on your own. And then you just like run with it.
Well, so Kelly's interesting, right? For the great horseman that he is notorious for somehow just getting too many horses. Like there was a time when it was I lived with him, and Nisa Barry, she was with us. She was like the only intern that I remember anybody having that actually went and like did well, unless they were at Judd's, like Ashley and Jolene. But like someone who goes and interns. Do you have an intern who went and won a bunch?
There's a couple, you know, that a couple of them are back east and are doing really well. Like Holly Longus, she's kicking butt, just qualified for the American. And Samantha, and there's quite a few of them.
Nisa's the only one I remember that went out and like won stuff. But when Nisa was at our house, I think I was like 12 or 13.
Yeah.
That dude had like 70 head of horses.
That is not fun. I got up to like 24 at one time, and I was like, I looked around and I was like, I just can't. I don't want to do this. I don't feel like I can do justice either on, you know, the good colts.
Yeah.
When you got to ride, you know, 10 average.
So riding 3-year-olds, I mean, I remember when I quit riding colts for money, like somebody like Ty, for instance, who's never ridden like a 2 or 3-year-old or even a 4-year-old, just that little freaking snaky, they can't stay on their feet thing. You do that like 5 times a day for a week, 10 times a day if you're dumb. It just kills you. You can't do it long term.
It's a lot. It's a lot of work.
It is.
It really is. The training and the starting of them, I mean, just getting them broke is enough, but then like patterning and then hauling and seasoning, and then like that is a huge job. And then you got to get into, you know, the campaigning part. And that's where, you know, the mentality, you know, the mental game steps in and the whole package.
Yeah. No, absolutely. So going to mental game, right? Because I took us down an ADD rabbit hole. I warned you like preemptively. I was like, this is probably happening.
I keep bringing him back. I keep bringing you back.
Yeah, you're
It's
great.
good.
You need to do this. What am I doing here? You're better. Like this will be your 5th or 6th business. You can have it. I'll give you a number. You could buy it.
I actually did some podcasts at the BFA.
You did? Uh-huh. Like they were yours?
Yeah.
Or for them?
Well, I hosted for them.
I bet you're really good at it.
Thank you.
Yeah,
they said I did a good job. But
I
we'll
bet you
see.
did. Yeah.
I think I did. I interviewed Molly, and she was the first one. They did. I think it just went out on Barrel Horse World.
Really? Oh, it's not surprising.
Yeah.
Stepping on my toes. Look at you. But
I had to come and experience the pro.
yeah. Aw. Wait, Riley? Oh, me. Oh, sorry. Anyway, so you said the word mental game, and it brought me into like, we were talking about living in the trailer shack with the 3 or 5 runs, falling down, trying to deliver hot dogs, footlongs, and tater tots on skates, and getting the tips and not sharing them. You didn't share them with anybody. You were selfish, but it's fine.
I
You
invested.
needed it. You did. But how, like, when you're at that low point, right? And you hear like NBA players and NFL players and business people and all these people who come from rough places or whatever talk about it, but you don't hear about it like in a setting where a mass amount of people can absorb it and like get something from it. So like what was Sharin when you were going through all that? What was it that pushed you like to keep your head on and just keep going? Because it's not like you probably had much help, and it's certainly not, there wasn't, at least at that time, there's not enough eyes on it to where it would be like, okay, one day this is like really going to pay off for me. Like you could think that, but not like maybe it has.
That's a good question. So I really didn't have like a financial background support growing up. And so everything that I've been working since I was 15, and everything I have is because I had to work to survive. And I think a lot of my determination has been survival mode. And then like you just figure out like what you're really good at in life. And then like I just went after it is all I could do to be the best that I can be. But I don't know. I think with my salvation, I just have a desire to just do the right thing no matter what. And I don't care what anybody thinks or says. I have to do what I feel is right, and in God's eyes, what's the right thing to do. And that's how I've kind of lived my life and based my decisions on that. And my dad was a very, very, very determined individual, and I think I got that gene from him. Like I remember watching him stand on top of a barrel and literally like make that horse go around the barrel with him standing on it. And I remember him having a horse that would not load on a trailer. And so after he went to buy it, right? It was like an outlaw. And so he had to have it because it was like the challenge, right? He's taking this outlaw that's been through 4 or 5 hands, and I mean good hands. And so he's like, I'll take it. Well, after like 2 hours, I mean, the horse had both front feet up on top of the 2-horse of the trailer, but he got him in from the lady that he bought him from. And then when he gets him home, he backs the 2-horse trailer up to the stall and left him there. And he said, like, after 7 days, he backed out and then would go back in the trailer.
Really?
Like, yeah. I mean, just getting in a horse's head and figuring it out what to do. Like, don't give up. I guess I have that mentality is don't give up, don't quit, and just keep going until you can become the best you can be.
Guys, Rock and Roll Denim has absolutely changed the game when it comes to the performance and style in Western jeans. Top competitors like Shad, Tim O'Connell, Shelly Morgan, you name it. Your boy right here, we're all wearing Rock and Roll Denim. Inside and outside of the arena, it gives you the flexibility you need to win, as well as looking absolutely great in your interviews, appearances, whatever it is you're doing. Even when you're just doing podcasts like me. I had a chance to go to Rock and Roll Denim's factory the other day and pick out all the pants I wanted. Here's the thing. I got to try on a bunch of their new jeans. I love the men's Revolver jeans with the Reflex stretch technology because they're comfy. They're not stiff like some of the other jeans. Go check them out at rockandrolldenim.com or follow Rock and Roll Denim on Facebook and Instagram for the newest trends in Western fashion. rockandrolldenim.com. Guys, let me remind you how much we love Pendleton whiskey and how much you'll love it too. Here's the thing with Pendleton. It's not on every single shelf in the entire country. Sometimes you go to those small towns where the small rodeos are and you can't find Pendleton. That's where drizzly.com comes into play. Satisfy your inner cowboy by purchasing your bottle of Pendleton whiskey online. Buy it online at drizzly.com, put it in the trailer. Pendleton blended Canadian whiskey, 40% alcohol by volume, Pendleton Distilleries, Lawrenceburg, Indiana, and please drink responsibly.
Texas Saddlery is my go-to place for custom leather work this holiday season. Not only do they do custom saddles and tack, but they have some of the best silver work in the business, and of course, every hand-tooled leather product you can imagine. I love their belts. You're not going to find a better belt. They are made from 100% high-grade U.S.-raised cowhides. They're rough enough to ride the fences, classy enough for a night out on the town. So fancy, in fact, the one and only Miranda Lambert commissioned Texas Saddlery to make her custom gun holsters. Texas Saddlery is the new look of the Old West. Go to txsaddlery.com. Again, that's txsaddlery.com to shop their great holiday specials, or Get great ideas on corporate gifts this holiday season. And don't forget to grab one of their belts, guys. txsaddlery.com.
Guys, mark your calendar booked January 30th, 2 to 5 p.m. in Sunset, Texas at Double X Equine. The fantastic Lieutenant Colonel Alan West is coming for a meet and greet. He's there to answer any questions you have because he is running for governor in the 2022 race here in Great Texas. He has some phenomenal ideas. We here at The Gauge 100% endorse Lieutenant Colonel Alan West. He just appeared on an episode of The Gauge. I encourage you to go check that one out. Remember, save the date. Don't do anything but this on January 30th. Whether you agree with us or disagree with us, we want you to come. Everyone's welcome. There's going to be food, probably going to be a badger. Come on. So were there times, I don't mean to get into your personal one, I'm wondering, because it's like your dad sounds like an absolute badass to me because, I mean, I know I've thrown my hands up with plenty of horses. Everyone has. But to, like, do something like that, not. Like, you get to a certain point in your life, like, you see up in a horse as a dink, like, you're walking away. But, like, if he doesn't load up in the trailer, you're not getting my check.
No, I know. But you got to remember, this was, like, back in the 60s, 68 different. Or something like that.
Yeah.
But you know that horse, he took it and made it a world champion. He was the high money earner. He won everything. I learned how to ride on that horse. His name was T and then apostrophe Heck. And they said that the guy that bred it was like, oh, to heck with that one. And literally that was his registered name. T apostrophe Heck.
That's interesting.
But anyway, yeah, so that horse was like 18 years old. He got nerved, and my dad was like, okay, it's time for you to learn how to ride. I think I was like 10. He puts me on the horse, and like it takes off. I mean, we had a small indoor arena, but mind you, I'm like hanging off at the horn. My legs just swinging in the air. Like, yeah.
So it was like he took you off the Shelton pony and was like, here's this sumbitch.
Yeah, and the pony that would duck the third barrel. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we've all had to learn on the dinks, right? Those dinks, like, have taught you.
My dad would stick
what
us
you
on
don't want to
anything.
ride.
Literally anything.
Not me.
Figure
That's
it
a
out.
waste of my joints.
Yeah.
That's a waste of my energy now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Looking back. So, I mean, I've even told a couple people here in the last couple months, you know, I'm like interviewing people to come work for me at my ranch and like eventually be my trainer.
Yeah.
Take over the reins.
Yeah.
And then when you explain to them, like, okay, riding 12 or 15 head a day is just going to wear your body out and you're not going to make any money.
Yeah.
Like, but that's what people want to do. It's what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
I was just trying to save them like 10 or 20 years.
That's a good idea. You should probably listen. Like when Sharon talks about that sort of thing,
No,
maybe
but
listen.
I mean, this is just like one-on-one, you know, but I don't know. All of them want to like start their own training deal. And I get it. I mean, it is a great thing to want to do and become good at.
Yeah.
It's not a big money-making gig.
No. Yeah, you're not doing it to get rich.
Actually, I mean, like when that'd be a good question for Jolene.
Yeah.
And other trainers. But, you know, like when I would think I would make a little extra money, it would be when I would have to sell one of my own.
Yeah.
You know, and then it's behind everybody else's because I always rode my customer horses first. So if I didn't get to one, it would be mine.
Right.
And so that, or, you know, you win, you know, a pretty good check, then you get like a little bonus.
Yeah.
But really, you're just kind of catching up. But training and being the trainer, you are basically financing your customers for 30 days. And then when they don't pay you on time, it's 6 weeks to 8 weeks. You're in the finance business.
Doesn't it just, like, and the people who don't pay you, would never, like, say someone's name, but they're the people who could pay you at the first of the month.
They're the worst.
The people who are out there, like the lady who's got the one horse and she's working as a night nurse and she wants her kid to go in, her check's there on time and it always cashes. But the guy who's flying around the country in the private jet, just to fuck with you, because he knows he can get away with it. He's not going to give you your check on time.
You know, I don't think they do it on purpose.
People are
but
busy.
The monthly bills is not even on their radar, so they don't even realize that other people have monthly bills, right? And most of their checks got to go to the, you know, to the CPA and then, you know, go through the trust or whatever. And,
Exactly. It's such an
it's a long
interesting
process,
thing.
yeah.
That's how you know, like, in this, because we started talking about cars and horses. It's like, so you've got two totally different worlds, right? You've got people who are like their whole life goal is to get a nice car, and then you've got the people who their whole life goal is to have like a 1D barrel horse.
Yeah.
Like, you got a 1D barrel horse down here, you got a Ferrari.
Yeah.
But you know someone is an absolute, like, they've conquered life when they got both. When they've got the cars and they have the good horses. It's like, you know, you're like, okay, that dude, that woman, whomever, they really figured life out. Because if you can have good barrel horses or rope horses, and then you also got like a Porsche in the garage, what do you know that the rest of us don't know?
That's good. You know, but I focused on a goal, you know what I mean? And I knew that, like, to continue, you know, having horses, I mean, I eventually wanted it to be fun and it be like, you know, not such a hobby, but like, you know, just like riding my own, enjoying them. And like I said, I would take, you know, an outside horse if it fit my program, you know, and it was a winner. But like, I'm going to ride like what I like. And then I kind of found out like, you really got to have good mares.
Yeah.
And I did have a stud I was partnered in. And then when all these, you know, big, you know, stallion incentive programs came along, like, I just didn't want to play that high dollar game. And, you know,
what is your
do
opinion since you've literally, like, you've done this game before that successfully and you're doing it now very successfully. Like, what do you think is...
I think our industry is just, it's really, really grown. And I do feel like, you know, the stallion programs have helped tremendously. Especially having open races at those to where, you know, anybody can come play. Not just in the futurity and derby. I think that was important. It's really kind of centralized where people are going to breed, like certain studs. And so I kind of feel, you know, like the small breeder, you know, I don't know. I hope it doesn't affect them, but
yeah.
I mean, that was one of the reasons, you know, why I sold our stud is like, I didn't want to play that game every year where you have to, you know, pay them up. And
well, especially when there seems like there's going to be more of them, right? And next thing you know, you got 5 different incentives you have to pay into. And then everybody's so fixated on those studs that it's a small breeders. No one's looking, even if it's a well-bred horse, if that person doesn't pay him up, you know, somebody's missing out on a good horse who maybe doesn't need an incentive stud.
True. Yeah. True. But then there's still, you know, your 5D weekend warriors, you know, they just want a good horse and they'll just buy whatever they like, you know. So I do feel there's still a market and that's growing. But yeah, it's the incentive programs have definitely like incentivized the futurity and derby game. I mean, and now that we can derby for like 3 years, these horses like have a career.
That's pretty cool.
Even before they go to the rodeos, you know, and you know, be on good ground. And I think that's a really good deal.
Yeah, and I feel like it elevates everything because you even have like the rodeos now looking at the ground and stuff. But what it does, maybe it's going to push these rodeo horses out longer because people aren't going to give them up or sell them because they've got so long to derby.
I mean, they're not really giving up 3-year-olds either, you know, or 2-year-olds. Like it's really driven the market, which is good.
Unbelievable.
I mean, look at the pink buckle sale and the embryos, what those things brought.
It's nuts.
It is.
Yeah, and I mean, people who were doing this in the 80s and 90s probably never thought that you would be selling embryos like that for that type of money. It's crazy.
But there we go. It's specialized, right? You're taking like a great mare that had a good career and breeding to a stud that's proven. And
then you're betting that something's going to happen. Yeah.
You just got a better odds, you know, that it's going to win. I mean, Stella's a good example of that.
Yeah.
Like her mama was, I don't know, for a Dash to Fame mare, she was pretty like automatic and like a machine. She just, you know, got cut short on her performance. So
right.
Because of some chips and spurs, you know, in her knee. But it is really getting in that direction, and sounds like, you know, we got some new blood coming in that's, you know, buying up, you know, some of the associations and horses in the industry to to, keep it going and keeping it alive in the sport of rodeo and this Western culture,
Yeah, I mean, change scares people a little bit, but it's clear that change, whether you agree with it or not, has resulted in growth.
Absolutely.
Which has a trickle-down effect for everyone, meaning more money in people's pockets, which is then what elevates it further. So I think it's great.
I think owners, too, have an opportunity now, to make a little bit more money because, I know when I was a trainer full-time that, they would be like, man, you guys make all the money, and I'm like... but it's because, they're paying a training bill and then they got the expenses. And so your horse really has to win, to cover its costs. So
it does, yeah.
Kind of depends on, what the goal is for that horse. Do they want one? They want to go buy one or they want to make one?
Yeah.
They're going to have about the same money in it.
Yeah. No, 100%.
Yeah.
But it gives, I think people like to make one because you get to follow the journey. It's almost like a kid kind of thing.
It's a challenge. It's fun. It's exciting.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it really is. And so, I mean, when you're looking at a horse, like, I'm assuming you would never say, like, who your favorite horse is. But, I mean, the mare you've got right now, I mean, she's obviously being compared to some big-time horses. And it's got to be really exciting. I mean, it's not me saying it. It's other people are saying it to me. And I'm like,
really?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
maybe I need to know about this.
But it's a compliment to you and obviously your horse. Yeah. But, I mean, what is it about her that you think is so unique and special? Outside of she just wins, obviously.
I know. Well, she's so mature, and confident. And she's almost like, get out of my way, like I got this. Mm-hmm. That's literally like kind of her mentality. But I just think that she just has a heart, and a good work ethic. And that's what makes that mare great. And besides having a great mom, and obviously her sire has produced, tons himself, even on not so good mares. So I think just a combination. I feel like she's just a combination of breeding, heart, the work ethic, and then, I have helped her with, a good feeding, program, the training program, and then the campaigning part.
Yeah.
So it's like a whole package deal. But I just think, I'm just thankful every day for a horse like that. She's taken, she has really incentivized a lot of people, right? She has our own fan club, but everybody wants a Hello Stella.
Yeah.
I do too.
Yeah.
I'm just the lucky human that gets to strap on.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah. It's certainly being the person who jockeys that horse to success, though. That's because you could put somebody else on it and they might not work out. You see that. You've seen people be on other horses that are, did really well with somebody and maybe the styling just doesn't work. Or we all know a lot of people who have buying power who can buy any type they want, and they go and they can't make it work, right? So it's a big testament to the person who gets the horse to the show. And it's one thing I love about barrel racers in specific is the best ones. They always give all the credit to their horse, right? You could look at Haley, who's probably going to win another world championship. She never takes credit. She just gives it to sister, right? Yeah. Same thing you're doing with Hello Stella and everybody who is at the pinnacle of either part of this sport, which is barrel racing. They always give credit to the horse. But I think there's a lot more credit that maybe needs to be given to the Sharins of the world, the Haleys of the world, who actually are able to get that horse there and keep them there. Because that's 90% of it. There's amazing horses out there. There's so many of them that never reach their potential because they have the wrong person on them.
That's a good point. I wouldn't say 90%, though.
Yeah, maybe.
I really probably would say Stella's at least 60 to 80.
Yeah.
60 to 75%.
Yeah. Well,
but I'm telling you, those
men
good
always
horses.
Exaggerate, too. That's another thing we do, right?
Yeah. But those good horses, I was listening to one of Haley's, interview or podcast or something about, she was kind of talking about how she made the mistake of how she rode during one round, which cost her.
Yeah.
Because she was already thinking that she had it wrapped up and won, and then she just didn't ride her. Well, no, she didn't ride like she normally does, and they caught a barrel.
Yeah.
You know, and I mean, I have experienced that exact thing. Somebody even told me, I don't know, a couple months ago, like how much money I'd hit on barrels on her. And I'm like,
Thank you.
I am not going to focus on that at all. But I mean, when I made a mistake is when we would catch a barrel leaving,
Yeah.
you know, and I had to adjust, you know, like horses like that will teach you how to be a better jockey.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I give her a lot of credit for teaching me too how to ride
Yeah.
on a horse that just wants to be automatic.
Yeah. Yeah. Was it a big transition for you? Was it something like her being the way she was it different from some of the other horses that you'd won on?
Well, a little, but I mean, I still train the same way as I did 20 years ago, you know, but just them good ones, you know, just make it look easy, and they make my job easy.
Yeah.
But then when you get down, you know, to when you're catching a barrel for, you know, $30,000 rounds, you kind of like, okay, we need to reevaluate this.
Yeah.
So yeah, in my mind, I'm thinking the best thing I can do is I'd rather give my horse more room on the backside and take an extra step and be 2/10 slower and keep them up
Yeah.
than I am, you know, being the fastest time and hitting the barrel.
No one remembers the fastest hit barrel.
No, they don't.
Yeah.
I like to post them every now and then.
Yeah.
Coulda, woulda, shoulda.
Exactly.
I mean, but I mean, it would not be the same time
Yeah.
if, you know, you didn't hit a barrel.
No,
'Cause
yeah,
you
you're cutting
have
the corner.
to. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. People don't really think about that, especially if you see people hit 2 barrels and they clock 4/10 faster than everybody else.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there was 3 steps less on each
Right.
barrel. That's why that
Yeah,
happened.
yeah.
No one thinks about that.
Yep.
When it comes to training a horse, and you don't have to say too much, but you know, I've rode horses with so many people in my life, and some people make it really simple, like barrel horses. I had the unfortunate being born into a barrel racing family, which means I always had shitty rope horses. It's just the way it was. But I got to ride some really amazing horses, like a lot of them. Like I can think of some horses that stopped at our place that I got to exercise that were just legendary horses.
Yeah.
You know, like
Or he's like tuning them up or whatever.
well, because like you know, Kelly could fix anything. That's one of Dad. My dad could fix any horse, repair him for somebody just in time for them to break him again. But
Yeah.
he couldn't. So that was a thing that we got. Is we had like, I remember there were a couple. This is when I was a kid. It was Fleet and like Martha.
Oh yeah.
Smooth over or whatever it was that parked it at our place in Colorado,
Yeah.
and I got to exercise them. And not that I knew any difference, but because everybody said those horses were big deals, it felt like you were doing something amazing, right? Like if you got to go shoot a couple free throws with Michael Jordan,
Right.
You're going to be like,
Yeah.
what the hell? 'Cause
Yeah,
at the
I
time,
get it.
those horses were like that, just like yours is now. Like so
Yeah.
if some little girl got to exercise her first, she would be like,
I
know what I
honestly,
mean?
like, I have a 13-year-old Gracie. She's like
Yeah.
my little protege.
Yeah.
She's the only one that exercises still.
yeah, and that's like it's amazing.
But
And
she's I've trained her, you know, this is how you train. And like, so she knows exactly what to do.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Yeah, and that's what's so interesting about these barrel horses. They almost like the real ones, like the real amazing ones. They have this like inhuman thing about them.
Yeah.
When you know, like this horse is worth more than anything. Like this is a $2 million horse. Like what does that even mean? And you get to like exercise them or do anything. It's really unique, and people love that. And when I was a kid, because that was all my parents cared about, and that was the only world I was exposed to, it was the biggest deal in the world.
Yeah.
To get to exercise those horses. But it was so scientific. Everything with my dad was so scientific. Like everything. You can't walk a horse around the barrels, right? You can't just lope a circle. Do you think that that's the right approach? Because I don't know if it is personally, but also, and I know other people who don't think it, like simple is better. Like what is your opinion?
I do try to keep it really simple.
Yeah.
And I have like a reason that I do everything.
Yeah.
Whatever exercise I do or drill, like incorporates what that horse needs to be able to run that pattern.
Yeah.
So I'm either doing an exercise that, you know, it reiterates how I approach the barrel, how I leave the barrel. I just keep it really simple though.
Yeah.
I do. But I mean, honestly, when I get on any horse, Stella a 3-year-old, a 2-year-old, like I am always incorporating basics, like suppleness, soft, just doing all the basics. That's it. And like keeping it fun. And I get on, I ask them to do these things and just remind them, this is how you stay soft, backed off, you know, walk, trot, lope a circle, whatever. But I do it 15, 20 minutes. Like I don't overtrain, I don't overdrill. I feel like being consistent repetitiously is how they learn.
Ty, is repetitiously a word?
Yeah, is that a word? Repetition.
Repetitiously. No. Repetitiously is what you said. Don't you backpedal.
How do you
if this is a word, you can take that microphone
I don't know,
off
but
and
I like
drop
it.
I like it.
I like it.
If it's not a word, I bet
I'm
what does
training
it cost? $12?
repetitiously.
Repetitiously.
That means I do the same thing over and over, and
I think it's your word.
So
It's
repetitious.
no,
is a word.
repetitiously.
So no. So repetitious is a word. So repetitiously is in Merriam-Webster.
Oh, well, there you go. See,
score.
is that the score? Is creating the word the score, or
I
is
think
it
that
being a word
I
is
think
the
I
score?
created the word.
We're gonna
and
give it
just
to you.
miraculously showed up.
Yeah, he's
and
just stroking your
Webster's.
ego. That's what's going on.
What's it say the meaning is?
Hold on. I just lost it. Hold on.
Ty, how do you lose it?
Let's
Did you go back to Twitter?
It's an
He's-
adverb.
He's
Right.
not doing his job.
Yeah.
You see that?
He's slacking.
Yeah.
Hold on. It didn't give me a definition. Characterized or marked by repetition, especially.
Especially.
See
Bingo.
that? And to me, that's the key.
Yeah.
Is just doing like consistent, repetitiously. Now it doesn't make sense. How I said it before was perfect.
Repetitiously being consistent. You have to say it with conviction.
Yes, yeah.
You have to say it convictionously.
Yeah.
That's probably not a word. See, I tried
See,
to.
he's trying to
I
mock
tried. Yeah. It was a one-time thing. Well, Sharon, I think we could probably sit here and repetitiously say the same things over and over again, and people would love it. But I know you got to get to Vegas. You got to go show your face, hand out a saddle, do the damn thing. So we're really glad you stopped by.
Thanks. Yeah, thanks for having me.
Thank you.
This is like legit in here.
Thank you. I think so too.
Yeah.
It wasn't when we got here.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of the gauge, so you guys are doing a great job.
Thanks. We think so. We just want people to think it's cool, because I think it's cool.
It is cool.
I don't want people to think you guys are like weird horse girls, like the memes. I don't want people to think that.
No, we're all actually pretty laid back and chill. And honestly, like most trainers are approachable. I mean,
Absolutely.
when you said you were scared of Jolene, like
It's just a joke because she's got guns. She's like the sweetest lady ever, but she's got some freaking guns.
yeah.
So if you saw her on the street, you'd be like, that biker is gonna beat my ass.
Yeah. I get it.
And she's kind of ripped. Anybody who's like got decent sized forearms and is ripped, and they're a woman, you're like, she's probably tough as shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're doing the work.
Yeah.
They're doing the work.
Yeah, it's not easy. And that's why I respect you guys so much, because I know how hard it is and the amount of sacrifice that you have to make to do it at that level, whether it's rodeo or fraternities.
Yep.
You're not just cut from that cloth. It's unique people who do it. And I think it's important that, we had like a wildly famous politician on yesterday, and today you're on here. And it's like, if he could hear like the amount of determination that you have, or any of these people have, somebody like that who's like, sorry, I can't be on your guys' podcast. I'm going to meet with Trump. And then finally he came here, finally. But he didn't know anything about this world. But if he heard this and he mentions it, and like the amount of respect that you guys would garner that I think you deserve, that's why I do this stuff.
That's cool.
It is cool.
Yeah.
Because everybody I love does this. And so it's important for me to like do what I can.
Yeah. Well, you're doing a good job.
Thanks. And so are you.
There's a lot of people that, people want to know about that person, and they just see them like I said earlier, just in a magazine or, their face on something. But to really hear, how they speak and what their thoughts are and where their heart is,
when you guys have so much
cool.
value that you can bring, and so many people, like so many little girls and boys, and whether you're a world champion tie down roper, or you just won the PBR World Finals, or you barrel racers have the biggest following of everybody. Let's just call it what it is. But there's so many little girls specifically, and some boys on the East Coast, a few down here, but who look up to you guys that have no access to you. They have no idea, like, other than what you won and who your horse is. Like, what you know, what you've been through, and how you could value them or give them value.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, I didn't
think it's
have that
important.
mentorship, you know, growing up.
Yeah.
So that's why I took in interns for like 15 years. It was like my little fix, you know, how I could give back. And now I just feel like, you know, I want to, you know, continue doing that, but maybe on a bigger platform,
Yeah.
you know, where you can reach more people instead of just one-on-one at the ranch grinding it out.
Well, think about how many little girls are out there who maybe they're working at Sonic right now and they want to be barrel racers. What? You mean I'm not the only one who was roller skating people to their ice cream cones today? Like Sharin Hall freaking worked at Sonic too. I guess I can get there.
Yeah.
Like, and it's just really cool to hear that, because anybody who's at the top of anything, they don't seem human to really regular people or young people. They just don't.
They've all started somewhere, though.
Everybody does. Yeah, just like those horses that I've always got so lucky to be on.
Yeah.
Like, they don't seem human when you're that age. And then you can hear that somebody like you was there. It changes somebody's life. You're never going to meet them. You're never going to see them. But you change somebody's life when they get to hear your story and know that if she persevered, frick, maybe I can persevere too.
I mean, don't give up. I mean, honestly, that's the biggest advice, you know, that most of these young, you know, the next generation coming up, you know, they're kind of being taught different things in school and colleges and, but honestly, I think that a lot of them learn more being hands-on and being out shadowing or interning or all of that. Like, go get your feet wet and what you think you want to do. And then you'll realize what you really want to do. But you still got to have gut and determination, you know, to be successful. If you want to be successful, you got to do what other people won't do.
Hell yeah. And you can
work your ass off.
You can be a top tier barrel racer and a badass businesswoman. Look, you could do it.
Thank you.
All right, we'll let you get on your flight so you don't miss it. But if you do miss it, it's Riley's fault.
Yeah.
And his fault, because he screwed the whole Google thing up. Ty, you asked for Google faster.
Sorry, I didn't know how.
She's going to be late. She has to rush. She's not going to be able to go to the bathroom. Great job.
Thanks.
Luckily, you have a fast car.
Hey, have a great... Yes, I will get there.
Bingo.
I promise.
All right.
Thanks.
This has been The Gauge, hosted by me, Chance Conrado, produced and edited by our guy, Ty Yeager. Shout out to the executive producers, Dustin Pointer and Cody Denton. Marketing and content produced by Riley Chone. Make sure to rate and review this podcast, as well as follow The Gauge on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And make sure to subscribe to The Gauge wherever you get your podcast. We'll see you guys next time.